We're catching up with Coach Nick Baer from the Seckman Jaguars.
You know, as far as the product on the field, Oakville's a very improved football team. They played teams like, Eureka and Ladue very close. And we know if we don't go out and execute and do what we do Friday, it's going to be a close game.
Hey, we're catching up here with Coach Mike Ginge from the Oakville Tigers.
We're in good shape. We're in good spirits. We have a tough schedule. And, we've battled through. And, like you said, we've had some ups, we've had some downs, and hopefully we can get back on the winning track.
It is the Friday Night Blitz right here on Livestream STL. We've got a nice sleeting shower coming down right now. So if you were produce at the grocery store, and it's now picking up even harder now. Here we go. All right.
When he wraps them up, he brings them down.
Bradley in shotgun, fakes the inside to Malalich. They go across the middle. That is going to go to the house. That is all the way to the end zone. Number 18, Zach Huff.
Just a beautiful, beautiful play design here. You are going to see just tremendous. Looking, they're pounding up the middle. The run just opens up that slant, and what a great pass that just caught him in stride. And as you said, all the way to the house.
What Doug Jr. and the boys have in stock. Here's Baer. He's going to call his own number, see what he can do. He gets to the outside of the perimeter. He's going to go all the way to the house, 57 yards. 57-yard TD run.
Oakville is facing the direction they're going. The wind just makes it a little bit more challenging.
2nd and 14 from the 28. There's a pick. This is going to go back to the house, pick 6. Number 44, Dylan Lappy. Seckman isn't doing anything new. I mean, Coach Baer's MO is you see our offense, it's the same thing.
Right.
Can you stop it? I would say Oakville, because you take away the pick 6.
Right.
It's a tie ball game, Brian.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're right on. I think you give a lot of credit to both defenses here. As you're saying, Seckman, you're not doing anything different, and I think that's playing to the hands of Oakville a little bit, because they're just committed to stopping the run up the middle. They're forcing you to go to the outside, and that's not something that you've done a lot tonight. So you think maybe there's an adjustment here that's coming, and you're going to start to see some more edge plays from Seckman.
October 13th, we're talking about wind chill factors, because I'm sure it's got to be around 59, 55 with this wind. Baer forced out of the pocket. He's going to pull it down. He's going to scamper 45-30, 35-20, 20, 15, 10, 5, 2. The house. Are you kidding me? No flags to find on the field. Another 53-yard TD. So the chain gang drops the sticks back in the back. 1st and 9. Bradley, the only one in the backfield now, being joined. There's a fumble on the play. That's going to be a scoop and a score. This is number 14, Eric Miller, returns it 91 yards to the house as the snap was low.
I think what you see on that play as they start to line up for handshakes.
Yes, that was the final snap of the game. Yeah, and we'll continue our wrap-up here. Carry on, Mr. Bryan.
Yeah, I think what you saw tonight is two really good teams, a hard-fought game. I don't think the score is indicative of the type of game it was. We had a couple turnovers that ended up going back to the house that really kind of stretched this game out. But otherwise, I think you can be proud if you're on both sides of the ball here, either coaching side, that there were some good things that came out of this, but there was also some things to build on.
Hey, we're catching up here with Coach Nick Baer from the Seckman Jaguars. Coach, how you doing, sir?
Great.
Yeah, you got to be doing great. Rolling here 8-0 right now, and big win 28-7 over Oakville. Beginning of the game, we get this torrential downpour, very monsoon winds and monsoon type of rain, but
Right.
and it kind of dampened things, for both teams. But Oakville was actually able to kind of keep you guys at bay a little bit. I don't know if it had anything to do with the rain or whatever, but couple things kind of bounced their way early on, but then once you guys were able to kind of kick in gear and kind of take a breath, things kind of fell into place. Tommy Gabar always has his Tommy Gabar days, 2 touchdowns. He's 20 rushes, 148 yards. The big thing that I thought was great, you had on both sides of the ball too. You had on the defensive side, Dylan Lapp, he has an interception. Trayton Claraday picks up the 85-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. So in all facets of the game after that, everything kind of came together. So give us your thoughts on the game Friday night.
Yeah. We knew it was starting to sprinkle a little bit. We saw kind of a cloud coming in. So when we get to the coin toss, we obviously wanted to kick off first. Didn't work out. We ended up with a football and then also, just torrential downpour for about 5 to 10 minutes. And, we kind of putzed around and gave the ball back to Oakville. And then all of a sudden Oakville walks out to the field. And it stopped raining.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, oh, is this how it's going to go? But yeah, no, for us, Friday night goes to the defense. Our offense usually clicks at a little bit better pace than it was Friday night. We stumbled around, had some missed assignments, lack of execution. So it's good to know that, when the offense does have an off night, which doesn't happen very often, the defense is there to step up. And yeah, anytime you write up a game plan, you don't write down 2 defensive touchdowns.
Right.
It's something that you have to have. And, Dylan Lappy, sophomore linebacker, he made a great read on the quarterback, picked the ball off, scamper for 30 yards. And then Trayton Claraday, we worked it every day at camp and every week during the season, house. The ball just simply rolled right to him. He bent his knees, scooped the ball up, and took it 85 yards to the house. So, that was just ways we were able to stay ahead of Oakville on Friday night.
Yeah, you guys have never had a perfect regular season here. So last year, I know you guys were 8-1, but what would it be like? I know you've got Webster this week, but what would it be like, and what would it feel like to have that full 9-0, perfect season?
Yeah, it means a lot. Anytime you get your schedule for the next season or the next 2 seasons, and you look at it, the goal is to win every game, but don't happen very often.
Yeah.
If ever. And you're working with 15, 16, 17-year-old boys and trying to get them to execute 9 weeks in a row. It's something special. So it's definitely something we want to accomplish. Friday night also comes down to an outright conference championship in the Suburban Orange. So that's something the boys want to click off. We're still working on that 1 seed in districts. We know how important home field advantage is, definitely in the second round, and then getting through that and, making Jackson drive up to here for the district championship has been a goal we've had since June. So,
Absolutely.
We've done everything we could up to this point, and we have one more night to go out and execute in the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get a good look at Jackson this week. We've got their game against Festus. So, we might have a little bit of something to work with there. But let's talk about your game Friday night coming up here. Webster Groves. What do you know about Webster?
They're an improved football team from the last couple of years. We've been able to best them, I believe, the last 4 years in a row. But for the previous 15 to 20 years, they've owned us. So, we know they're going to come into this game with some confidence. They're going to come into this game, probably wanting to play the role of spoiler. We know their coaching staff's pretty solid, and they're going to have them ready to go. And, for us, really this week, especially offensively, it's just getting back to execution and knowing who we are and doing what we do.
Good stuff, Coach. Continued success, and good luck to you Friday night.
Thank you.
All right, that's Coach Nick Baer from the Seckman Jaguars. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Upon Further Review. Ray Halbrook from Livestream STL here. Hope everybody's having a great morning here. We're live from none other than Case and Buck's Grub and Pub out here in Barnhart, Missouri. We've got a wonderful, wonderful setup here. Don't forget to like and share this particular episode and send it out to all your friends. We'd appreciate that. And we've got a different setup, I should say, a little bit here, and I'm just going to throw this little. You guys don't get to see it, but we're like in the Brady Bunch here. There's all four corners of us, all four of us here. So,
I like it.
So to this side, that's Jeff. Down below me, that's Matt, and then way over here, that is our new guy. Or, you know what? I need to go the other way, and I got to go down.
There we go.
There it is. I got to go down.
You got to get
That's
up to
Ron
get down.
Rigdon from Cheap Seats Photo. Ron Rigdon, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Great to be here.
Hey, man, we love having you on here, and
Appreciate it.
A lot of fun here. But Jeff Whitener and Matt Bates always with us each week. And without further ado, we're going to jump in, and maybe a little bit later here we'll have Mr. Jeff Fitter from Case and Bucks to pop on here. I know he wants to talk with. He wants to have his own show with Ron
Obviously.
here. So
We've been dreaming about it for years. Great human being, that Jeff
there
Fitter.
you go. Well, Week 8 results. Well, we've had we just got done taking a look at the Seckman Oakville game. But we'll talk also about the Perryville Herculaneum game that was 50-0, and the St. Genevieve Jefferson game 49-7. Let's start with Mr. Jeff Whitener.
Well, I want to toss it over to Matt because I want to put a bow on this Seckman Oakville game, Matt.
Okay.
And of course, you were there, fighting through the weather with with the guys with the crew there. But just from what I saw and to throw it out there, last week we talked ahead of the show that I was bragging about the Seckman offensive line, and really it was the defensive line and the linebackers that came to play.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, the defense, seeing that firsthand, that, as the season goes, and again, as we say, on paper, you just see the Tommy Gabar show and what he can do. But when you got to see that defense firsthand, it was everybody they just seem to be cut from the same mold, and that there's I don't know how to say this in football speak, but there's no sloppiness out there. You see some of the big guys that can't get around, their linemen, their linebackers, their safeties, their cornerbacks. Everybody is 6'1", 6'2", 185, 190. And they all seem to have the same speed, the same mannerisms, the same football IQ. And that was really because I know we had talked about their offensive line cohesion. And I think that's one thing where, as I was talking to Brian during our broadcast before, I said, so let's just take the three of us. If we started out as freshmen and all we did was play offensive line.
Right.
You take that all the way up, sophomore, junior, senior year. So you play 9-10 games a year. Okay, so 4 years, you're playing 40 games, and all we're doing when we come off the field. That's why you see at the NFL level, when you see the linemen sitting down talking, we already know, hey Jeff, do you need help over here? Or Ron would be like, hey Matt, can you give me a little help over on my side? Sure, yeah. But when you're playing both sides of the ball, and the only time we would have any interaction about what we can do, you're doing it on the fly.
Right.
Where when you get to those higher level classes, where all you're doing is playing one side of the ball, not even special teams, we got time to discuss that stuff. To flip that over, if all I'm doing is playing defense, we have that time to discuss that too. Are you seeing the same thing that Max is doing back to your quarterback?
Exactly.
So that's why when, Meckel, he and Lappy, all he did is he just backed off 3 steps on that drop back, and just the ball was boom right there in his hands. and just took it straight to the house. And then Clariday filling in on defense because they had some injuries, the scoop and the score. But, I mean, it was really just the quickness, the turnovers, because that defense, and we've talked about Ethan Venable all year, held him to 19 yards.
Right.
I mean, how do you now, Coach Baer is going to tell you, you know what, it's the 176 yards of passing that we gave up that could come back and bite us. But if they were able to connect on more than 9 of 26, where, I mean, you're talking only 1 of every 3, almost a 33, if not below percentage passing.
Right. That's still pretty good defense.
Oakville's first quarter, I think I was telling Ron, I think that was the first time I had seen Seckman punt more than once, but like 4 times in a row. And I think for the first quarter-ish, their first 6 possessions, they at least punted 4 of the 6 times, where I'm like, if Oakville could have packaged that up for quarters 2, 3, and 4, but it just shows you, again, like a tough team like a Seckman, how you've got to play a full 48 minutes. You can't let your guard down against them.
The good teams sort of start to squeeze and constrict you like the boa constrictor over the course of a game, and especially in the second half, and you just run out of options. Now, at our other game of the week, Perryville at Herculaneum, Perryville blows out Herky 50-0, our live stream South game of the week. That game was bone dry. Got no rain there, no rain in that part of the county.
That's so funny. That's so funny. He's sitting there texting me as this monsoon is hitting. He's like, "It's bone dry here in Herculaneum." I go, "Shut up."
Jeff, real quick though, you were at that game.
Well, I was watching the game. Yeah.
Was it just the physicality of Perryville? Because I know we had talked about the week before that size, playing teams like that. I thought this was going to bode them well, playing a couple bigger teams. But it seems like Perryville. Just tell us what it was, because on paper, when you see it 50-0, what happened?
Well, Perryville has some really nice pieces of the puzzle, and you can see them starting to put it together last year, both on both sides of the line. They're much larger than any team in the I-55 conference. But the key is this year for them, their receiving core and their quarterback. They've learned to throw the deep ball, and they've got a big 6'4" receiver, one guy. The other guy's 5'11", but when you're playing small schools like that, that makes a huge difference. Just like Jefferson has a Nate Breeze or a Bennett Pemberton, that size at the receiving core where you can toss that ball up and let them go get it,
right?
A la Randy Moss or something, it makes a huge difference. And Herculaneum just didn't have an answer for that, unfortunately, in that game. And,
I had seen a targeting call on Reeves. I think it was like about midway through the first quarter, and to me that was like their first chance to really get Perryville to punt, or at least get some momentum on the Herculaneum side. But that seemed to just take the wind out of their sails, because that was a big third down play.
Right.
And from the way the camera position was moving, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of it. But Reeves, to me, didn't take that many steps to even warrant like a leading with it seemed kind of touchy, to where it wasn't where you normally see you're targeting like somebody coming from 4 or 5 yards away leading with the head. This was it's like a quick pass over the middle, and all of a sudden they're throwing a flag for a targeting call. And
it's a judgment call, and you could have 50 different officials in that situation, and they might be 25-25 on whether that was a penalty or not. And you see it at every level of sport, and in football, unfortunately. And for us older guys, we look at that and you think, well, that wasn't much of a penalty. But nowadays, there's such an emphasis on safety and concussion protocols, things of that nature, that they always seem to err on the side of caution, and perhaps that might be a better way to do it. But there was no caution by the St. Genevieve offense against Jefferson on Friday night, 49-7, and here again, bigger, stronger, faster team, and Jefferson. They went down there to St. Gen, and they played the Class 3 team, as a Class 2 team, but they had a rude awakening in St. Genevieve, and really Jefferson held to just 106 yards total offense.
I saw that. That's in my note here. First time I've seen R7 totally stifled in all aspects. And to me, that just comes down, to me, would be just size, as we were talking last week, that, the boys down at St. Gen, I mean, they're all cut out of the same mold too. They don't lift weights; they sling concrete blocks and hay bales. And everybody down there, I mean, back whenever I played against them down there, everybody seemed to be like 6'2" and like 190 across the board, and all just built like the bricks and concrete blocks they were tossing around.
Right. And a head coach is never going to use that as an excuse for a loss. Size,
Correct.
a team like Jefferson is they're small even for the I-55 conference and size-wise, not numbers-wise, but size-wise. But Coach Attlee will tell you that he's probably seen this coming on in his team, for the last couple of weeks. It's hard. You're unbeaten and really haven't been tested that much.
Right.
He wasn't happy with the performance against Grandview the week before. He saw some signs of the team and the way they were reacting in situations that kind of did not bode well, a little foreshadowing of this game at St. John. Now, conversely, that's the type of game, and we talked about this before we came on the air, where as a team, that could be a big wake-up call. They have their biggest game of the season coming up this weekend, and we'll talk about that a little bit at St. Vincent, battle for the conference title. So hopefully that the Blue Jays have gotten the message and they're putting in a good week of practice.
All right, let's move on here to some more games. DeBerg 38, Lutheran South 37. I believe that is incorrect. It should be 39-37, right?
Correct.
But I remembered to forget. I remembered to forget to change the game.
But either way, they were up 39-14, 35 seconds into the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden the lid blew off, and in the final 8.5 minutes, Lutheran South reels off 23 points. Masters held in check, only 54 yards passing. He's still 9th in the area in passing, and it's like the second game I think he's had. I call it a modest day of either 50, 75 yards, and the kid is still 9th in the area in passing. But, and then, like I told Ray, I said he only had one carry for 102 yards. So he made a productive day at the office. Sean Pickens, the big A train, in 8 carries, 87 yards, and a TD. But to me, again, when you literally and figuratively look at both sides of the ball, David and Davion's sides, those two guys, I'm telling you right now, you put them up there with the Lappy brothers. The defense, they had 7 sacks, but David and Davion, they combined for 5 of them. They combined for 18 tackles. So you talk about a sides show. Holy mackerel.
Nice. Very nice, Matt.
And as we've covered, I think at least 3, maybe 4 of their games for DeBerg. I mean, those two guys religiously, they're in. It seems like every tackle they're involved, and then you flip the script, they're on the other side of the ball as well, too.
And people may wonder, why do we talk about DeBerg and why are we getting into them so much here? Number one, they obviously are a sponsor. We do their games, But the thing that's cool about DeBerg, and the reason that I get kind of hyped about it, and this game is a perfect example of their 3rd win of the season. If they win next week against Bayless, that's 4 wins. That's the first time since 2014 that this team has had 4 wins, with a good chance of being able to host a district game. So it's kind of cool to watch this program from a no-win season as we have move up. And Matt, I think, and I want to get your opinion on this, a turning point in that game. They're up 39-14 going in that fourth quarter. Lutheran South mounts this ferocious comeback. Now, when you're a team and you're used to a culture of losing, you're like, okay, here we go again.
Right.
The very fact that they were able to stave off that comeback, that could be a turning point for this program.
I think you're exactly right, because that last touchdown that Lutheran South scored was a pick 6. And again, when you're not having a great day throwing, as we saw with Masters, only 54 yards, that's one of those things, especially at that position, can start snowballing. And everything is rolling now for Lutheran South, where my take would be, again, seeing this on paper, 39-7, in the last minute and a half, onside kick. Maybe we now look to kick a field goal, because that's what these schools up north do and can do at any given moment. So I could purely see this whole snowballing thing, like, hey, here we go again. Kind of that, all they got to do is onside kick, grab it, and, that's the ball game. But as you had said, though, when was the last time DeBerg even put a 2-game winning streak together like you're seeing right now? 3 wins. And as Coach Masters had said last week 2 weeks ago against O'Fallon Christian, they were still solidifying a chance to have a home playoff game. And again, when was home and playoff games like mentioned in the same breath for Bishop DeBerg as well too. So, I mean, right now you got a lot of seniors now that I think it was that first win against Afton that we didn't cover, but you saw the 64-14 score where I think those guys, when they finally were able to put a 4-quarter game together, as Coach had said even last year, Coach Masters was like, this was like we're kind of taking it play by play. We're trying to put positive play to where now it's like, can we put positive quarters together to where you saw that win against Afton. They finally were able to put the whole thing together. And now that taste of victory that these guys have finally gotten after 3.5 years of football and 1 year with COVID, now it's like, okay, you're kind of seeing the results of that, the fruits of their labor, if you will.
Exactly.
Throw it over to Ron Rigdon for a quick second.
Oh,
Your
man.
thoughts on any of these teams?
Well, Seckman, we do their team pictures, and I can tell you, talking about their linemen, you're going through their pictures, and these boys, during the linemen, they're folding up their jersey underneath their pads, and they are linemen with six-pack abs. That's not right.
I know.
That's not American. These guys are in amazing shape.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like, everybody's cut out of the same mold on that team.
Okay, Dean Meckel. That kid is like on another level
He's
of
chiseled.
human.
Yeah.
And I am so jealous. I'm going to give Mrs. Rigdon a shout out here. She got some shots of him. We've shot 3 of their games this year. And she got a shot of him that first game of the season. I was so jealous of it, just sacking a quarterback. And then, he's got the war paint on. And if you've seen it without it, it's not even fair how good looking the kid is. He's got that curly hair. It flows in the wind. That's not right. That's just not fair to the rest of the kids that go to Seckman. So
Bring
good
a
for
GQ,
Dean.
bring a GQ,
He's
right?
got great family. Oh, my gosh.
So we brought Ron from Cheap Seat Photography on today to talk about each team and how photogenic they
That's
are.
right. That's exactly right. That's how I base these. But you guys, look at these notes, people. This is not right. I didn't bring notes. I'm winging this thing here. Also, Ray, I was told there'd be no math today. So in this talk thing, so here we are. Jeff Fitter came out. He, as usual, there was some bullying. He's eyeballing me right now.
There were words said.
Yeah,
there were words.
No, Seckman. The other thing about Seckman, probably the best conditioned team that I've seen, that I've photographed. I think Mrs. Rigdon would agree with you, or with me on that. They are 100 miles an hour from the beginning of the game until the end of the game. And we've known Nick Baer since he's a little boy. And he was as competitive as, has to win, as a little boy. I played with him. He was also a former teammate of mine on a men's baseball league that we played in up in Afton. We had to pull him back a little bit. It's like some of these guys on the other team, Nick, they got to go to work in the morning.
Right.
Pull it back, buddy. His dad was our coach, and Bob. He would make me run laps after the game. I was in my 40s. I'm like, come on, Bob, I can't be running laps out here. I did them, but
Oh my gosh.
And the thing is about the Seckman with Rubel moving on after a great 4-year career and now at SEMO,
Right.
they haven't missed a beat with Gabar.
No.
They plugged him right in. And
I think that's the identification by Coach Baer that
Right, exactly.
you're seeing that as a sophomore, where that's that recognition of, maybe he's not a starter where I could have him somewhere else. That's got to be that conversation where after he graduates, you're my guy.
You're next up.
Stick
Next
it
man
out.
in.
Stick it out, and just hold tight.
Well, and I think that was a battle cry for Seckman prior to the season, because I can't tell you how many times I heard they're going to be nothing without Rubel. They'll be nothing without Rubel. And Cole Rubel, probably one of the better teammates too, would do anything he could to help his teammates get better. And I think Tommy was just ready to step in there with after Cole left, and I think Cole helped get him prepared for that too.
Sure.
He's just the Rubel family in general. They're just wonderful humans.
winning culture.
Yes.
I was going to say, watching, because I covered the Marquette game. We did that last year. And got to see Alex Bray, who's over at Illinois now, because that whole year it was the Cole Rubel show, and what could you do to slow down that train?
Right.
And it was the A train up there
Right.
with Alex Bray. but seeing Gabar, the way he got to the perimeter, got up and down the sideline, that's why I'm saying, as a sophomore, coach saw that same thing with Tommy Gabar, had to, because And really, outside of Camden Bolton over at Crystal City, I was like, he gets to the outside and up as fast as that guy does.
Right.
And to my take, I would say Bolton is almost like he's got to be a track guy.
Oh, absolutely.
But the way Gabar got to the outside and up, I'm like, his first couple steps to get to that outside net perimeter were about the same as Camden Bolton. And to see that firsthand, I was just like, wow, because even in the interview you'd had with him, he just looks like a really thick, stocky guy. Where you're just like, okay, how does he only throw for like maybe 5-6 times a game, and he's putting up these rushing stats? Well, but what's different about the Seckman program is that you really don't have a quarterback. You've got more of a running back quarterback.
Right.
So, your days of the standard kind of just like drop back and then look to either hand off, run the option. It's that the quarterback is essentially 2 running backs in the backfield. And their approach to the game, I mean, it's fast football. And that's what I'm saying. You got to play a full 48 against these guys, and there's no let up.
I'd tell you, I wouldn't want to have to tackle Tommy Gabar if he's coming at me. He is. His quads are like this. He's got the gun show going on. He's definitely an athlete. He's stepped right into Cole's shoes, and they haven't changed a thing. They haven't missed a beat. Seckman is, I mean, they most likely will finish the regular season undefeated. I think they're going to go deep into the playoffs. Yeah. And I couldn't be happier for Nick Baer. Just like I said, known him forever. We love the Baer family, and I think at this point, I think that Mrs. Baer, if anything goes awry, I feel sorry for Coach Nick. He's going to be sleeping on the porch or something. I think she's got the expectations set now.
There you go.
Good family, the Baer family, wonderful people.
We're letting time get past us here, so we're going to have to buzz through a few more things. So we did DeBerg, Lutheran South. Let's buzz these next 3. We'll talk about them, and we've got the last one's going to be the Festus game, and we'll go to our co-player of the week, because I called an audible. Omaha. I called an Omaha, and we're calling that one the Philly instead of the Philly special. We're going to call it the Festus special because they're both from the Festus area. So here we go. St. Vincent 35, Grandview 13, St. Clair 55, Windsor 14, and then we're going to end up with the Festus 42-0 win over Farmington. Jeff.
Well, Grandview against St. Vincent. St. Vincent spread offense, speed, size of the receivers. Too much of a matchup for Grandview. Nash Moore did his part, 31 carries, 139 yards. He's been a warrior all season, for Grandview. St. Clair at Windsor. St. Clair is one of the better teams in that area this year, and Windsor had a hard time going on the road against them. Windsor down to 3-5 now. But nothing really else to report on that. But yeah, Festus taking care of business against Farmington. That Farmington usually plays them pretty tough, whether it's home or on the road.
You look at Nash Moore, great job. Again, in defeat, 139 yards rushing. He has 873 on the season, 7 TDs. But it was also his play on the other side of the ball too. Last 2 weeks against St. Vincent and Jefferson, 56 carries, 323 yards. Quietly on a team that there's no bells and whistles at like 7-1, 8-0. You look at what Grandview's doing though, even at 3-5, what Nashmore is doing. I would say another week like that against tough teams could throw his name in the ring for a Player of the Week nomination. It's 17 tackles with an INT the last 2 weeks. I like the job that Nashmore is doing. And you look at what happened up at Windsor, 134 total yards, 79 rushing, 60 of them by A.J. Patrick. That was a tough day at the office. Sure. But who called shutout against Farmington?
Right.
The number of points put up there, I know we're going to get to the Cape DeSoto game, but seeing 21 points by DeSoto put up against Cape, and then you're telling me Farmington, like they scored more points than Farmington did against Festus. I would not have taken that money at Vegas. So great job by the Festus Tigers taking care of a tough Farmington Knights team, a Class 5 Farmington Knights team.
There you go. We have our player of the game, our player of the week. Here he is.
Hello, cousin.
Hey, we are here with our Upon Further Review Player of the Week Part 2. We've called the Audible. This one's going to be called the Festus Special, not the Philly Special, but the Festus Special because we've had 2 Players of the Weeks this week. So we got Hayden Bates on the line here. How you doing, Hayden?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, man, great week this week. You had against Farmington, who's usually a pretty tough customer for you guys, but 42-0 win over Farmington. You went 15 for 131 yards, 3 touchdowns. You caught a pass for 13 yards. Took care of business. And take us through the game. Your thoughts on the game last Friday?
Yeah, Coach O, he had a good game plan going into the game, and our line has been blocking pretty good for like 4 weeks now. So it's been getting me a lot of yards, and yeah, it's been doing pretty good.
Very cool, very cool. Tell us a little bit about the Festus Tigers this year. We've seen some games where like this past week you guys are just taking care of business. You had a couple of games you dropped, but coming in here 6-2, and what's it been like this season? Maybe what is Coach O maybe even talking about as far as his thoughts on this season so far?
Yeah, I mean, he thinks we're a state caliber team. Like everybody's just got to buy into it, and like I think everybody's starting to buy in. Looking at our record, we're 6-2. We got a tough Jackson team coming up this week, so he's got to take care of business and everybody show up to practice and just doing their part, and hopefully we can come out and win against Jackson.
Yeah, great. Before we go in and get into the Jackson game here, we talked a little bit before here your recruiting as far as I know you, and most folks know you more of a baseball player, but we talked a little bit about possibly looking into football for college. What's that going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, I came out my junior year, and Coach O said I could run for 1,000 yards, and I didn't think of it like I could run, and I think I had like 776 yards last year, and then this year like I slimmed down and I like bought into it, and I'm close to 1,000 rushing yards. And Coach O, he thinks I can play football on Saturday. So I'm going to John A. Logan right now for baseball, but things can change here soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Good to hear. Let's talk about Jackson. They're kind of they're a little they're a bunch of big boys over there, but I know Coach O is probably going to have a pretty good game plan. What's the plan this week?
Yeah, I mean, we just lost 2 linemen this week on offensive line, pretty big ones. They started, and so yeah, I mean, I think we got a pretty good game plan going into this game. Hopefully, we can just capitalize and not have too many penalties. Just do a lot of things right.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on our Upon Further Review Player of the Week, and good luck to you this week against Jackson.
Yep, thank you.
That's Hayden Bates from the Festus Tigers. All right, we're back, and we're going to buzz through the rest of Week 8 here, and it looks a little bit like this. Cape Central 51, DeSoto 21. Parkway North 21, Eureka 16. Fox 35, and Parkway South 16. Anything you guys want to jump on there with those 3 games?
I think Coach Schmidt's got to be, just proud of the fact his boys were able to put 21 up against a tough Cape team. To me, once again, this I would have seen this more as the 42-0 game, and maybe the Festus Farmington game as the 51-21. So I think 3 touchdowns put up by DeSoto. Tip your cap to that. Parkway North, Eureka, that was a Class 4 versus Class 5 Eureka. Eureka was up 10-0 at the half, and then they got outscored 21-6 in the second half. I think this is a game Coach Sumner would like to have back, as that one was there for the taking. You look at Parkway North, they only had 150 yards total offense, and the knife and then the twist was the pick six. That was the TD that put Parkway North up on top. Fox, I mean, are you kidding me? Aiden Smith, still in my running for a player of the week at some point. He's 6th in the area and rushing. Had only seven rushes and 166 yards.
Two TDs as well.
2 TDs, yep, 49 and 80 yards. I mean, the team had a total rushing output of 427. So, I mean, at 3 and 5, Fox, as I was talking to Ron about it, I said to me, it's kind of like a smoke and mirrors kind of team where, kind of like a Bishop DeBerg, if you will, where you just don't know what. I mean, the offense can be there when you see them putting up 300, 400 yards of rushing. If they don't get that, Cam Underwood can sling the ball around, and next thing you know, you're looking at 300 yards of passing offense.
And I don't know enough about the Fox program, but as we study this week to week, Matt, it's apparent that they have the pieces of the puzzle on the offense to really be a machine running the ball with Smith and with Underwood. And I don't know if some of the problems just are on the defensive side of the ball this year or what. And maybe folks in the comments section, Fox fans, can fill us in.
I would say that it's injuries.
Actually,
injuries.
Ron Rignon's
Injuries, I think they're young. They have 10 seniors. That's not, you want to have at least 20 usually in a program as big as Fox's. I will endorse Hayden Smith for athlete of everything. He's an absolute wonderful kid. So is Cam. But Hayden Smith, we just absolutely love and adore him. And then I just want to jump back real quick. You talked about Windsor. There actually should be a law against humans like A.J. Patrick being as good-looking and as wonderful and have great smiles as they have. That's just not fair, man. That's just not fair.
Once again, with the photogenic angle, it's Ron coming in.
This A.J. Patrick, it is just not fair how good-looking he is.
That's why.
My goodness.
That's why.
A.J. He's absolutely, we are going to miss him. His sister was also wonderful. He just steps in and he gives Mrs. Rigdon so much trouble on picture day. And that smile, it just, that phrase lights up a room, A.J. Patrick is that guy. His picture should be in the what's it, the thing you look up the words? Dictionary. His
Google.
Yeah, Google, Bing, whatever it is. A.J. Patrick lights up a room. His picture should be there.
Gentlemen,
That's
I
that
had
guy.
no idea he was going to come at this angle. But I love it.
Cheapseatsphoto.com.
It's the aesthetics for us. It's the aesthetics.
So,
all right.
Go see his work over at cheapseatsphoto.com. Ron Rigdon, Cheap Seats Photography.
Let's move on here. Webster Groves, 21, Northwest 20. We were hoping to see Northwest pull out a win.
Northwest came so close.
Man,
I'm telling you.
Fourth quarter touchdown by Webster Groves put him over the top. But Nick Youngkins, pretty good day for Northwest, man.
Yeah.
Nick Youngkins, Wes Knuckles on the receiving end. I mean, Youngkins, 70 yards rushing, but 15-15 of passing. And you see that, and then you look at the 78 yards. Like, there's some things that when you just see it on paper, you're like, that doesn't really equate that.
A lot of short passes.
But Knuckles, he receives 6 of those for 97 yards, 2 TDs, and but he also had a 24-yard pick 6 as well. So the Statesman, but again, you just see how something as simple as just kicking the extra point, special teams can play such a role in that's a determining factor between a win and a loss. And sometimes you're like, well, okay, so we missed that extra point maybe in the first quarter. You know what? You got to account for that carryover at some point. And, but again, 1 point loss, and I'm sure the Lions are licking their chops to get back at another week.
And I know we're running short on times. I just have to say this real quick. My rant, it's one of my hot takes central for the end of the season. Special teams play has fallen off dramatically, in my opinion, in the last few years, but you're going to have to tune in a few weeks from now on our show here for me to explain further.
Upon further review.
Upon further review,
further
Blue Tiger Media style.
I think Coach Gerling's going to get that program where they need to be. He's a good man. Good man.
Good deal. Okay.
Crystal City picks up the forfeit win, and then, really, you look at what Pius did. I mean, that was what they were supposed to do against 0-8 Bayless, but we'll talk about Justin Lehn here in a second. But, 15 of his 20 touchdowns have come against DeBerg, Cuba, and Bayless, which at the time a combined 0 for 13 that Pius beat 175-28. But you look at what he's done on the other side of the ball. I mean, I'll take that all day. 105 tackles. Half of them were against Jefferson, against Grandview, and against Clayton. I'll take that performance on that side of the ball. That
sure,
but it's just when you look at the other 5 games that he's had rushing, 88 carries, 466 yards, 3 TDs. kind of modest, but those 3 games that have stood out, that's where he's gotten about half of his rushing yards against those. So,
before we get to our player of the week, I want to do this. I want to have Ron, since he was there, preface the Cardinal Ritter Hillsborough game, 34-21 on Saturday. And before we do, there's a lot of controversy that's gone on about this game. There's a lot of things that we threw out there as far as the poll is concerned. It's just throwing it out there. There's no attack by any means. You know, I really felt like I was pretty right on as far as who I thought the poll results would end up being. So, sue me later. But no, seriously, Ron, we're going to throw it over to you there for that Ritter Hillsborough game.
Give us a teaser, Ron.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Ritter. They're the defending state champions. I don't know their head coach very well, but I think that he felt like throughout the season, I think that he felt his coaching staff is getting slighted. I know it. So we photographed for the Leader. We photographed for Sports Illustrated High School, which is SB Live also, and he. Steve Overbay from the Post-Dispatch and Nate Lash from Sports Illustrated High School were interviewing after the game. I think he feels like his coaching staff is getting slighted in what they bring from a football knowledge standpoint to the game. So I think they were fired up for the game. I think having it moved to 1 p.m., I think they felt as if they were being slighted, for lack of a better word. So when they came out onto the field, they were fired up. They were ready to play. Hillsborough, they're not. I mean, Coach Sikorsky, he's not backing down from anybody.
Yeah.
He a dude.
Right.
He's a man, and so are his players.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Preston, Peyton. I mean,
Right.
they came to play. They didn't back down from anybody. They went, face mask to face mask. That opening drive, I thought, man, we're gonna have us a game. And when they scored, Cardinal Ritter made the adjustments. They looked at what was happening, did what they needed to do on the defensive side, and Hillsborough came back late. Preston had the long run, scored a touchdown. I mean, he was throwing people off of his back, throwing people into the stands. This kid is just a special athlete, and you're just like, it was fun to watch him. But you had an interception in the end zone. And I think kid took it back 60, 70 yards. That's going to hurt you. That's going to demoralize the troops a little bit. The atmosphere, I'd say, prior to the game, there was some tension there. Anytime I photograph, you get a game like this. You got your Jeffco kids. You got a North City team or something like that. Every single time, Fox Hazelwood, not West, East. We photographed them a couple years ago. At the end of these games, like you can hear the stuff going on in the stands between the fans, between the parents. Same thing, Hillsborough, St. Mary's last year. Some of the things that were yelled from the St. Mary's fans last year was gross. It hurt my heart, you know, especially for as a Christian, as somebody who loves Jesus and knows that Jesus loves all of us equally. We're all created by the same God. To hear them say that to hear some of the things that were yelled there last year, it hurts. But every single time after the game, who steps up? Who's out there hugging each other, shaking hands, talking, praying together? It's the players. Yeah. And this game was no different. After that game, the Hillsborough players, the Cardinal Ritter players, they were out there and they're hugging each other. They're playing. There was some trash talking during the game and before the game. Don't get me wrong. Right. Like the head coach, and I'm so mad at myself. I can't remember his name right now, but Ritter, he said it. It's a passionate game. It's an emotional game, and oh my gosh, those players after the game, once the dust had settled, once they had done what they needed to do on the field, they were embracing. And the same thing, praying together, all that.
You had touched on one of the 2 points I was going to bring up, which was I know the game had got moved to Saturday. To me, how much of an impact do you think that had on it? Because I know, Jeff, we've talked about it too, where a lot of teams that play on the Friday night lights, when you make that adjustment to that Saturday afternoon game, it just throws a wrench in your whole mechanics. Now, again, not an excuse, but it's still a thing.
The routine is off. That's for sure.
To me, this was their first tough game after DeSoto and Windsor.
Right.
That trying to gear up now after I'm not gonna say 2 weeks off, but
Right.
it wasn't like you were pushed to the test.
Right.
So after 3 weeks now, you got to crank the motor up,
Right.
and now you get your routine thrown out of whack because now it's going to be like on a Saturday afternoon. Or was this just a matter of size? I mean, because again, I'm just seeing this on paper.
I don't think so. I think Hillsborough, they're pretty big themselves.
Yeah.
Cardinal Ritter, they've got some big kids, and they're smart football players. And in the fourth quarter, I mean, Hillsborough was they made the adjustments that they needed to make, and they were moving the ball. They scored twice. They were right there in it. You have maybe an onside kick goes your way, you're set. Wasn't meant to be.
Because I'm seeing 208 total yards of offense, and then I see 2 quarterbacks for Ritter that throw 402 yards and 5 TDs. Yeah. And then they throw in 124 yards of rushing. So I mean, when I'm seeing like a 500+ yard offensive day, and normally this PB sandwich that we cover week in and week out, I didn't know if it was like a size thing, if Ritter made the proper adjustments, seen enough film, or was this a classic case of Class 5 just beating a Class 4 team?
I think that was it. Ritter's definitely, like you said, they're the defending state champs. They're definitely not backing down from anybody. And Hillsborough didn't either. They just, I think it was the turnovers, in my opinion. And Ritter's, their game plan was on point. They did what they needed to do, and obviously as a photographer at the game, I'm not going in depth. I'm not thinking about the yardage. I'm looking for on each play. I'm looking for I'm watching 1st and 10. Okay, we're going to get a run up the middle here. For 3rd and whatever. Okay, we're definitely going to get a pass downfield here. So that's what I'm looking at as a photographer. So it's for me. I thought if I was going to get, I don't think Hillsborough was smaller or anything like that. I think it was more the fact that Ritter their game plan was really well, and they were able to make some adjustments on the fly that weren't counted.
Yeah.
Great assessment, Ron.
Good there. We'll talk about our player of the week here against the Pius Bayless team here, St. Pius 48, Bayless 8. We have that interview right here with Justin Lehn. It is now time for our Upon Further Review Player of the Week, and I am calling an audible. I'm the owner of Livestream STL. I can call an audible. I'm calling an audible today. We're going to actually have 2. This is interview 1 of 2. We have Justin Lehn from the St. Pius X Lancers here. Justin, how you doing, sir?
Doing good today.
Awesome. Hey, man, you had a heck of a game this past week against Bayless, 48-8. We got you down for 5 touchdowns total here. Rushing 4 rushing touchdowns there, 24 for 187 yards, 1 receiving touchdown for 53 yards, and you play on both sides of the ball, so you have 1 defensive sack, 11 total sacks, or total tackles, I should say. You had a pretty doggone good game, and if you weren't at home, you'd probably be driving the bus home too. So, take us through the game. What's your thoughts on the game?
This week we had a new offense put in. It's just slightly different from our last, from a wishbone formation to I formation. And I think that really helped because it allowed us to have a little more trickery and not such a giveaway on where the plays were going. And we've just put in a lot more on offense than defense within the past weeks. And it really came together this game, and it was just nice and smooth. And so, I just think this was a really good game for us. I mean, we had our few mistakes, and we're going to learn off those, but overall, a good game.
Now, Justin, you're a junior this year. We talked a little bit. You're talking about maybe getting yourself involved in the recruiting process here. What's that been like so far? Have you started that yet?
I just mostly have like a Twitter, Instagram account, and I'm starting to post highlights and just getting my name out there and trying to find schools I want to go to and emailing coaches and everything like that.
Great. Good start there. Being a junior, you've got a little bit of time here, so kudos to you to get started a little bit early there. Take us through how the locker room's been like this year. I mean, you guys are 6-2 on the season here, and high hopes for a deep run, I'm sure, in districts. But what's it been like having the new coach as well there in Frank Ray?
It's been really good. Yeah, of course we got our eyes set on districts and even past that, and that was one of the first things he said. He said he's coming in and we're trying to win state. Like that's our main goal. And so everything we've done has been just hard work and dedication because we know an end goal. And so it's just the whole team has really come together. And like, I mean, it's been some rough, tough days, but that's just a part of it. And we just want to outwork everyone and be the more physical team. And we know they'll carry us through districts and even farther.
Absolutely, absolutely. Final question for you. We'll let you go here. You've got Perryville on the docket this week. What have you got in store for the Perryville Pirates?
Just mostly like the same thing. We had a lot of mistakes in Bayless with our new offense, and I think when we clean that up, like we'll be a really good team. And defensively, just a few weak spots that we have to work on. But I mean, there's nothing that we can't do. So it's just just be the more physical, dominant team and just outsmart them.
Well, congratulations on being Player of the Week this week, and good luck to you Friday night.
Thank you.
That's Justin Lehn from the St. Pius X Lancers. Let's take a look at our. Excuse me. Let's take a look at our honorable mentions. As we normally do 4, but because we had the players of the week, let's do 3 this time around. Second defense, 3 turnovers, 1 interception for a pick 6, 1 fumble for a touchdown. That was one heck of a game. I'm just going to have to say it. Northwest, we do have a Northwest honorable mention. I sent this over to Mike Stoff. He said, "Thank you so much," and he says, "I'm going to make sure I let Wes know." But Wes Knuckles, 6 receptions, 97 yards, a touchdown. Kudos to the Northwest, the receiver there.
Great kid.
Great name. Great football name.
Yeah, awesome. Wes Knuckles. I like it. I like it. You could use that for baseball name too. I mean, it works out.
Hockey
kind of
fighter.
Sports. Right, absolutely. And rounding out, you mentioned Hayden Smith here, Ron.
Love that kid.
Yeah,
Wonderful
from Fox.
Kid.
7 rushes, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and real quick chance to brag on it for just about 30 seconds.
Hayden Smith, oh my gosh.
Go ahead.
Love him. He'll run through a brick wall.
Photogenic.
He'll build the brick wall, then run through the brick wall.
And still look good doing it.
Still
Right.
photogenic. I mean, just, oh my goodness. Probably one of the hardest working kids that you're ever going to meet. I know Coach Tinker would brag on him too. I hope he gets the opportunity to play at the next level because I think it would be a shame if he didn't. I think he's just a diamond in the rough, and I think if maybe like a Mobap or maybe a McKendry or somebody picks him up, I think they're going to find that he's going to set the example in the weight room. He's going to set the example as just in working out and generally, and then on the field. He's not a big rah-rah in-your-face type of a leader on the team. He leads by example. There was a run that he had up at Ritten earlier this year. Gosh, it was amazing. I was clicking the whole way, and probably some of the best shots I've got this season of a running back. So that's, again, photography. That's what I'm really good at.
Cheapseatsphoto.com.
Yeah, right.
Go there.
That's what
Again,
I do.
as we say when we do our promo, that's where we get our banners from. If you see us out at an event, Ron's done our banners, and I got to tell you firsthand, the image, the clarity. Oh,
that's
great,
all
great,
Mrs.
great
Reagan.
job.
I
Great
can't
job.
even take credit for it. I mean, I will since she's not here, but that's all her.
Yeah,
So you got 2 more on the way.
I got 2 more on the way. That's right. River
hell.
City Gamblers, which you liked. Like that one for the ABA. How about that? All right. Moving on here to our Week 9 schedule. We're going to buzz through this as quick as we can because I want to get Jeff Fitter on here in a little bit, and then we're going to talk about the district really quick the district setup. So here's our Week 9 schedule. Jackson at Festus, that'll be our live stream STL game of the week. Bayless at DeBerg, our live stream STL South game of the week. Eureka is at Hazelwood Central. Grandview at Chaffee. DeSoto travels to Orchard Farm. Northwest at Melville. Seckman at Webster Groves. Ladue at Fox. Crystal City travels to Herculaneum about 2 miles. Hillsboro at Poplar Bluff. Jefferson at St. Vincent. Cuba at Windsor. And St. Pius X at Perryville.
Jeff, you got any you want to talk about?
I'm going to blow through these real quick for you. There's several games here that I'm really interested in this week. Jackson at Festus game is not a game that means anything in districts, but Jackson obviously looking at it as a tune-up for district. Festus looking at it not only as a tune-up for districts, but a chance to go up against a Class 6 school and show where they're at. They've been on a roll lately. Bayless DeBerg. DeBerg wins that game over Bayless at home. They have a very good chance of hosting a district game. Eureka at Hazelwood Central. Hazelwood Central's 5-3. Eureka 4-4. Eureka really needs that game here in the district standings. Grandview Chaffee. That's going to be about a 50-50 game. Orchard Farm 6-2, a very good team this year versus DeSoto. DeSoto's going to have a hard time going. Northwest and Melville, a battle of the.
Somebody's getting win number one.
Somebody's
this year.
getting win number one, and
It's going to be the Northwest Lions.
Here,
I predict it right
absolutely.
now.
And I agree, Ron. I think Northwest has it. Seckman, Webster Groves, they need to get out of there. Seckman just needs to get out of there healthy with no injuries. Ladue at Fox, that has a very interesting game. I think Fox can actually win that game at home against Ladue, although Ladue's pretty good this year. Their 4 losses have come against quality teams. Crystal City, Herky, that's always a fun game. That's going to kind of be maybe a toss-up, maybe might lean a little bit in Crystal City's favor. Hillsborough at Poplar Bluff, of another very interesting game.
Hillsborough better buckle up for this one.
5-3, and that's a tough game to end the season on in Week 9, but I'm sure they're going to be fired up after last week against Cardinal Ritter. St. Vincent hosting Jefferson. 5-3 St. Vincent versus 7-1 Jefferson. The I-55 conference on the line. Neither team has lost a game in the conference. One will emerge tonight, or Friday night, as the victor of the conference. Both teams kind of firmly entrenched. If St. Vincent beats Jefferson by a large margin, it has an opportunity, if Herman wins big this week, to knock Jefferson down to a 2 seed, which means they would lose the first round bye, and that's 7-team district. So Jefferson needs to have a good effort against the Indians there. Cuba and Windsor, that's a game Windsor should win. St. Pius and Perryville, tough matchup going down. Anytime you're going to Perry County, your Jefferson County team. So that game is pretty intriguing to me. Sullivan against North County. Sullivan at 6-2. They are one of the better teams in their class from their area. North County is going to have a hard way to go, and that is my wrap-up of the week.
Awesome. I've got the Jackson Festus game, obviously not just because I'm doing that one, but I saw the Jackson Poplar Bluff game, which takes me down to Hillsborough at Poplar Bluff. And especially with Hillsborough going on the road down to play Poplar Bluff, the Mules are more than game. So I know Hillsborough took a gut punch with their loss last week, but they need to be ready because Poplar Bluff's no joke. I totally agree with your points on the Jefferson St. Vincent game, and also that St. Pius Perryville game is on my radar as well too. But we'd like to see Northwest get off the schneid and get that first win of the season would always be great, and we'd like to see Fox, sneak out a win, and especially with that being at home. I think I would agree with the assessment that with them having that at home, if that was on the road at Ladue, I'd say probably not, but I think they've got a shot at home.
And it may be the week that Hayden Smith picks up that player of the week. He's due. He's been an honorable mention all year.
He's going to do it. I believe in you, Hayden. Come on, baby.
Ray, rather than go in the districts and worry about that, why don't we do that after Friday's game next week? We'll go through that. We've talked about it a little bit here.
Yeah, we'll take a break here real quick, and we're going to bring in Jeff Fitter. The Jeff Fitter, and we're going to also put you two together.
Not even fair how good looking he is.
He's been busy all morning.
Nobody should look that good.
That's right.
He has been all about the photogenic things.
I mean, that pizza with the ribeye on it.
There you go.
Come on.
There you go.
Very svelte.
This is upon a further review. We'll be back.
Hey, y'all, it's Jeff from Case and Bucks. Thanks for watching the games today. We appreciate all your business all year long. Don't forget, we've got awesome wings. We got amazing burgers. We got salads like you wouldn't believe. Come check us out. We have barbecue on Thursdays. We have Southern Nights on Wednesdays. We've got bingo on Tuesdays. We can't wait to see you all. Thanks a bunch, and we look forward to having a great summer with y'all.
Ruther Ford is the place to shop for your next vehicle. We have a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, and they're all priced to sell. Not in the market for a new car? We have a great service staff that can keep your car in top shape. Also, be sure to check out our parts department for your next car project. Once again, we're Ruther Ford off I-55, the Herculean Auto Mall.
Family pride is driven home. Ruther Ford, Ruther.com.
The Breeze Dental Care Team consists of dedicated individuals who are caring, kind, and friendly. Our staff is here to ensure a pleasant experience during your visit to our office. Our team includes experienced and energetic people whose goal it is to communicate well with our patients and provide the best care possible. Providing preventative, restorative, and cosmetic care, schedule a visit by calling 636-937-3030 or find us on the web at breezedentalcare.com.
And we are back here. We continue to talk over the intro here, which has been great. It's all right.
I'm an amateur.
That's all right. We're going to bring in our good friend Jeff Fitter. Jeff, my friend, how you doing?
I'm great.
Jeff, salads like you wouldn't believe. That's all I got to say.
Listen. Normally in this situation, I have a face for radio, and now I'm on camera. So I'm sorry. That's all I'm going to say. But I am sitting next to Ron Riggin, so that makes me look better.
Jeff Fitter, owner of
you made the right decision.
Jeff Fitter, owner of Case and Bucks and Super Smokers as well, and both places rocking and rolling, I'm sure.
It's been a weird year, but slow and steady wins the race. So we're surviving.
Nothing wrong with that. No. And we appreciate the kudos and the sponsorship here. We get games for you guys in here from time to time for on the TVs. You got like 55,000 TVs in here, but that's okay.
Ish.
So tell us a little bit what's going on right now. I know you guys are probably doing a little bit of changes here, probably for the fall, moving into maybe even into the winter right now.
We are. Of course, the soups come back real strong this year. We have two soups with chili and our green pepper soup. They're really, really good, and it's not just because I like to eat. I do like to eat. But hot soups, all you can eat soup and salad is real popular this time of year. We're planning our Halloween party for the 28th of this month. I think it's a Saturday night. Come dressed up. Lots of fun there. So it's that's one of the things that I love. Obviously, growing up here, literally growing up here, my wife and I have been coming here since '93, so it's not like this is new to us.
Right.
But this Case and Bucks really gives me the opportunity to have some fun.
Yeah.
And not just necessarily in the kitchen. It gives me the opportunity. It's like a high school reunion. All joking aside, I mean, Ron and I did go to school together.
Literally.
That's exactly right.
I know. I get it. Yeah,
but
literally.
I also went to Windsor. My grandma lived in Parkton, so I ran around with a bunch of people that went to Windsor. Yep. So just about every time I'm in here, there's somebody here that I went to school with.
That's hilarious.
So it's been fun to catch up with a lot of old friends. There was an old friend that lived 5 houses down from my grandma that we ran around since we were kids, early at 7 or 8 years old. Ricky Buddy, I think he goes by Rick now, and we're grown now.
He's a grown up.
He's grown up now. Yeah. He and his wife came in for lunch the other day, and it's just fun to catch up with people. That's.
I would. There's an issue that Mrs. Rigdon and I have with Case and Bucks. We came in here a couple months ago, and we're trying to kill some time. We had like an hour and a half, and we made our order, and it was delivered very fast. It came out really quickly. Food was hot. It was so. After we were finished eating, we still had like an hour to go.
Yes.
We were trying to kill the hour, but it was fast delivery and food was good, and I mean that part I'm happy with.
So those of you that aren't familiar with the Rigdon language, what he's trying to say here is that Mrs. Rigdon was very upset that there wasn't something to keep him more occupied.
Right, exactly.
And now she had to entertain him.
Right.
And,
exactly.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, that's right.
I was a little worried that you were going south with that. So I'm just saying.
Case and Bucks.
I'm
Actually,
just
the brisket
saying,
at Super Smokers is the best brisket in the world.
Wow.
And I'll fight any man. I'll fight any man that claims otherwise.
Look at
Bring it
that.
on.
Listen, he's ex-Navy. I'd be careful.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, and I think we need further testing.
All right.
I think we need. Don't you think?
I'm game.
Upon
further review, we demand that we find that out right now.
The only way to find out is to get a big plate of it.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, there it is.
So yeah, it's been a ton of fun here. Super Smokers, the communities in both places. I mean, the Eureka community is it's tremendous. Ron's felt that effect with Cheap Seats. It's just the way they've embraced us through COVID and the after effects has just been tremendous, and I can't thank them or our customer base enough.
It was great during COVID to go out to Super Smokers and see a line of cars picking up orders.
Yeah,
that warmed my heart.
It was pretty fantastic.
Very cool. Very cool.
COVID would never stop me from getting barbecue.
Absolutely not.
It didn't stop a lot of people.
It did not stop.
Surprisingly enough.
Jeff, you have some other little things going on. I noticed on social media you've been out there talking about maybe some freebies you've been giving away lately.
So we've started a new VIP program, VIP club that you can sign up for. You give a little information, email address, telephone number. It's all opt-in stuff, your birthday, and we give you free stuff, free wings, free pizza, free a BOGO and lunch. I mean,
sign us up, Mrs. Rigdon.
Who doesn't love that?
Right.
So it's been real fun. It's been real fun. You know, we're in the world today, people are just money's tight, and they go out to eat less. And it costs more to go out to eat. And I'm not even talking about the fuel. I have this conversation probably 16 times a day where people come in and like, oh, my God, you charge so much for your burger. And I'm like, well, did you go to Schnucks and tell them they're charging you too much for a burger? Because I know you didn't. Right. But, you know, it costs more. Everything costs more. So it's been a struggle for us. And, I mean, personally, you know, we go out to eat less. Right. Actually, we went to Cyberg's last night as a family. We all went to Cyberg's last night, and literally we waited, I don't know, an hour and 5 minutes for a table because there's 8 of us. They're super busy with Cyberg's and Arnold. And I literally had customers walking out, and they're like, why are you here? And to which my daughter, for those of you who don't know CJ, Ron knows her very well.
One of the
CJ
greatest
says,
humans ever.
Are you serious? We own 2 restaurants and we're waiting an hour to eat? Like, does that make sense?
Right.
But we're human. We go out to eat too. We literally had customers go out there like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, I got to eat. You know, I can't.
I think CJ Fitter should run the world for an hour. Everything would go fixed in an hour. That's all it would take, CJ. 1 hour, fix the world.
God help us.
Well, you know, and I want to talk too about maybe some of your seasonal beverages. I wanted to come in 10 o'clock this morning and have the Goose Island Oktoberfest beer, but
sold
evidently
out.
You sold out.
Sold out. Yeah, we're out of that. Actually, our Harold's rep was in yesterday. We were making discussions about what we're changing and how we're changing. We're actually bringing. They have formed a part. Twisted Tea. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. Twisted Tea is a huge drink these days. They have come with a partnership called Hoop. HOOP. You'll start seeing that in our social media posts starting next week. Today they delivered us basically a Hoop, which is a competitor to Twisted Tea, on draft. So we'll be selling that out of the draft, which will be nice and chilled. It's really, really good. I'm not a huge Twisted Tea guy. I do drink tea, but I don't drink Twisted Tea.
You drink the untwisted tea.
I drink the untwisted tea. Straight. The twisted the tea it's like a sweet tea with alcohol in it, right? I'm not a big sweet tea guy, but I have enough sweetness here, right, Ron?
That's right.
You're going to tell him he's really photogenic.
Right.
Oh, dude, look at those eyes.
Listen. Ray and I was describing to Ray when he told me Ron was coming, and I said, I don't think you understand. Ron Rigdon, and he's our family personal photographer.
Right.
Like when my kids went to Seckman, they played soccer there. They did okay. And Ron would he would take a picture, and then he would take a picture of the picture he took with his phone, and he'd text us, I got this great shot. And then you'd go and look at all the cheap seat photos, and there'd be like 200 photos, and 42 of them are my children.
That's right.
That's
great.
And then they actually did our family photos.
Yeah,
we
did.
ran around downtown St.
We did.
Louis
Oh, that was fun.
at various
That was a fun
places
day.
and took photos. So yeah,
we did. We had a great day.
We we're trying to make some changes that are going to be good for everyone. everywhere.
Great.
And we've lowered some prices on our lunch menu. We're working with our food partners to be able to put us in the best possible situation to be able to have the lowest costs we can have.
I was going to ask you about that. Has the cost gone down now? I mean, I know like meat is just freaking expensive.
Yeah, no, nothing's gone. And you know what? The reality of the situation is just like fuel. Like you could get into a whole conversation about politics and about this and about that, but at the end of the day, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs.
That's
and
right. Yep.
and some of the places, some of the entrepreneurs are making more money or making better margins with higher prices. And I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the people that give it to us.
Right.
So the prices are never going to go back to where they were. That's the unfortunate truth. So now it's just a matter of how we all put ourselves in the best possible situation to be able to provide that service that we provide to the public.
Like on the way down here, gas was $3.37. I was like, wow, they're practically giving it away.
Right.
Well, and you make a good point. As a business owner, you talked about you making changes, and in this economic climate with inflation, food, fuel costs, all of those things adding together, you have to be light on your feet, and you have to be willing and able to make those changes and adjustments, just like an offense or a defense does in a football game.
That's and that's a great point and a great tie back. But the reality of the situation is our responsibility, and which I take very, very serious, is beyond the customers that walk in the door.
Mm-hmm.
I have staff that work for me. I have two people here today that have kids at home. They have a family to support. They have bills to pay. They have things, and I can't just, people are like, oh, I can't believe you charge so much for chicken wings. Well, I charge so much for chicken wings, first of all, because they cost a lot.
Right.
Second of all, they're worth it.
Yeah.
They are good.
Mrs. Rigdon
They are good.
Mrs. Rigdon will fight any man.
Listen, my money's on her every day and twice on Sunday. But the other thing to keep in mind is I have staff, and I have staff that work, and they work their tails off, and they have families to support and bills they have to pay, and so I take that responsibility very, very seriously. It's not just you're not in the hospitality business because you're going to get rich.
Right.
What's the old joke? How do you make a small fortune in the restaurant business? You start with a large one. So it
Sounds like live streaming.
Pretty much.
That's exactly right.
Pretty much.
You guys don't do this because you're going to get rich. You do this because you love to do it.
Right.
And the same thing with me. There's nothing more I love than walking through those doors and seeing people laugh and smile. I did a interview with Frank Cusimano a long time ago when I took over Super Smokers, and he literally asked me, why do you do what you do? And my answer is very simple. If I can make somebody's day just for 5 minutes while they're enjoying their sandwich, forget about whatever it is that they had on their mind when they walked in the door, I did my job.
Right.
I tease when I talk to my customers. I tell them my job is to make you fat, dumb, and happy. I don't care which order it comes in. As long as when you leave here, you're fat, dumb, and happy.
That's right.
You can go back to being miserable if you need to when you walk out the door. But while you're here, I want you to be able to enjoy the time with your friends and family. I want you to be able to enjoy the food. This should not be a stress point.
Your outlook on life changes when you have to meet a payroll.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right.
Amen.
And for those watching at home, we've had all these segments today with Ron, and we asked Ron about his opinion of teams, and he wants to talk about how chiseled and how photogenic they are.
That's right.
Now, we're going to get into my sandbox here for a second.
Let's do it.
For the media standpoint. Jeff Fitter has an awesome voice.
Oh, man.
His voice is perfectly tailor-made for radio or announcing. Or
Definitely for radio.
He could be on
If
TV.
we can just
He's
get you
hard on
away
himself.
from
He's a good-looking man.
if we can just get you away from the restaurant for a few minutes, right? Is that what it
it's
comes down
actually
to?
something that I would love to do. I've got a couple friends that have radio shows that I've been on a few times, and it's a lot of fun to be on them. Especially because there's no camera, so nobody can see.
Yeah, there's cameras here, but they're little bitty ones.
They're little bitty ones. It's fine as long as they don't. zoom
we're
in,
just
you're
having
good.
a conversation.
That's right. Exactly.
It is. Hey, final thing for you, and we're going to get off here, but both of you guys are sponsors of ours, and I want to go and give you guys just 30 seconds apiece here. Talk about your business. Talk about what how you would love to have 5 million people in your restaurant and 5 million people over at your asking for your photos. So wouldn't that be something?
I'm going to go first.
Okay, you do it.
I'm going to go first.
I like it.
We Indian leg wrestled before this all started, and Ron's got really short legs.
That's right.
So he lost. And I'm going to go where
big feet.
I'm going to go where it's not going to surprise Ron, but it's not where you guys are thinking I'm going to go. I'm going to talk about Ron Rigdon and Chief Seats photo. I had the opportunity, and and I take this. It's giving me goosebumps even thinking what I'm going to say.
True story. It's happening.
When Ron Rigdon left the corporate world to become the entrepreneur that he's become today, he literally called me.
Yep.
Literally, this is all true story. He literally called me and he's like, "Man, what do you think about?" And at that point, he was doing kind of the weekend warrior stuff, if you will, the nights, if you will,
Right.
and taking off. And we had a long conversation about what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go. For those of you who don't know Ron Rigdon, there is probably not a more unbelievable, talented human being who would literally give you the socks off his feet if he needed to in this world. And the things that he's done with his business, and I don't necessarily mean the great photos he's taken, but the lives that he's affected. If you follow him on social media, you see celebrity sightings. That's my favorite thing. I love when I see the celebrity sightings because
That's how Jeff and I met.
He lives all over he's all over the place in Jefferson County and St. Louis County, and he snaps these photos of these kids that he's not seen in 3 years.
Right.
Minus the wing murals. You're always you're on their Christmas card list, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
But
and he remembers their names.
That's
ridiculous.
okay. I can't take credit for that. That's Mrs. Rigdon.
Well, that's fair.
She can see a kid from
the effect
15 years ago.
The effect he's had on so many lives is greater than I could possibly ever imagine I've had. But then you add to it the work that he's done, the photographs that he's taken, the things that he's captured, and the way that he's captured them is meaningful. It's not just a sport photo. It's not just a team photo. He's created some memories that these kids are going to have for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So every chance I get to talk to schools or anybody about the work that Cheap Seats does.
We're doing.
I'm a high school dropout. What do you
doing.
want? And I went to Fox, so it's like a double. It's like a double whammy.
We're both alumni,
right? We're both alumni. Right? It's incredible, and I can't. He's helped me more than he could ever possibly know, just in the conversations that we've had about business and about what he's done. So,
right.
Yes, I have great restaurants. Yes, I have great food. Yes, I have wonderful staff. I'd love for everybody to come in and have. But you know what? It's more important to me to talk about the great work he's done, the things that he's done, and the way he does it. It's had an impact on my life, my kid's life.
That's awesome.
So I've seen it from both sides.
Awesome.
And I think before we start, I
that's all the time we have. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, we're good. No, I appreciate those kind words, and I could reciprocate and say the same thing about Jeff. I remember that conversation like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And Lisa and I were I blew my quadricep tendon out. I was out for 4 months. I was working at Charter, and man, when I went back, my boss there was like, "You're not staying." I go, "Nope." And Lisa goes, "Let's give it a whirl." And now we might take a little bit longer to get pictures, edited and up on our site. But I wish people could see us. I think last night we were up till 1 o'clock. The night before that was 2 o'clock. The care with which Lisa, these images have 100%. To be good. They have to look, and she's really like the backbone of everything. I just push.
Well, make no mistakes about it. She's the brains behind the operation.
She is definitely
everybody knows that. But what I want to know is, when is the show going to be? When are you guys going to get a show on TV somewhere, a reality show about you two at home editing? Because I've had the pleasure. I've had the pleasure of being on the phone. And
Me too.
And listening. There is nothing in life better than those conversations.
The only arguments we have, we are on the same page with our life and the way where we're directed, and we want to serve the Lord. But when we have creative differences, the Lord's like, I know He looks at us and is like, children, no, and I could sit here and tell you all the things that Lisa's wrong about when we have those creative differences, but she should be here to defend herself. That's all I can say.
Sorry, she's not. So I just have a quick question. Every time I call you with different things, do you always do the same thing with me? Do everybody else? You put them all on speakerphone?
Yes.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's honestly the only rereason is because I can hear better that way. It's getting old. So, but I appreciate those kind words.
You've earned them.
Like I'll tell you what, we did a photo shoot when Jeff first took over Super Smokers, and that was one of the best photo shoots ever. I have never been so full in all my life.
Oh wow!
There's pictures of food with bites taken out of it. It worked out.
Ron's actually taken CJ and I, my youngest daughter. we did a Seckman did a photo shoot with the kids, team photo and then individual photos at Seckman at the high school, and there was some. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. God, CJ's old now, which makes me even older. But there was some context where Ron basically said, "Hey, you know, make a game face, make a mean face or whatever." And he took this photo of CJ, and it was a little bit scary.
Oh, and we took it. It was a night shoot.
It was a night shoot.
We did
that's
the
right.
photo shoot at night.
And then he's like, "Jeff, come here, look at this." And he's showing it to me on his camera. He goes, "You got to get in here, and you got to do this face with her." So there's a photo. I have to go find it. I'm sure you probably have. Lisa can find it immediately. There's a photo of CJ and I standing in the net in a night shoot, both with the game faces on, basically that look quite intimidating. And it is a photo that lives in my house, and it's probably our favorite photo ever. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
I love it.
Very
Love
cool.
it. Love it.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us, and
Appreciate it.
You know, we appreciate you guys' support and you guys' you know, the amazing amount of, you know, publicity that you bring us, but we also bring to you at the same time, and it's been fun. Matt's behind Jeff back there, and hi, how you doing? And so you know, the sponsorship has just been unbelievable.
Good.
You know, with both you guys. And we appreciate it.
You guys do great work.
And we want to continue to do it. And it takes guys like you and other sponsors. As you know, there might be people watching right now, so you just never know.
Worth every penny. Right. If I could talk to them for a second, I don't know what this one, I guess.
That's right.
Worth absolutely every penny. Especially the way I run my business, which is very similar. This is why Ron and I think a lot alike from a business perspective. Be in the community. It's all about the community. And that was the conversation Ray and I had when we first started talking about this. It's all about the community, and it's been great. I mean, we've had, personally for us here, we've had a baseball team come in, we've had football team, we've had the softball team, some of the girls from the softball team come in, the volleyball team. We've actually got a girl that works for us that plays at Windsor Volleyball. So it's
Katie Moore.
Katie Moore.
Oh my God.
There
should be a law against how
actually
she covers the entire. She could take a team on by herself.
You know
Windsor High.
You should have probably brought her. I actually called when she got Athlete of the Week in the paper. I called Lisa and said, "Hey, can you print out a big photo of it? I'm going to have her sign it. We're going to hang it on the wall." But that's the way we choose to do business, and I'm not suggesting others do, but I know many do, and this is the best way to be able to give back to that.
Right.
Yep. Amen.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, let's wrap things up here, and we want to say thanks everybody for being with us today. As again, Friday night we'll go through our games here. We've got the they're both not coming up right now again. I love it when things don't come together.
Well, let's just talk about it. We have Jackson at Festus.
Yep.
This Friday night.
Jackson at Festus, and then we also have DeBerg will be hosting Bayless. Both at 6:45. We'll have our pregame and festivities and all that fun stuff. So for Ray Halbrook, for Jeff Whitener, Jeff Fitter, Matt Bates, and Ron Rigdon, all of us here at Livestream STL, thanks so much for watching. Upon further review, we will see you down the road.